BEEX project is a no-profit foundation about visual art and photography. If you want to help us, just drop a donation on buymeacoffee.com/BerlinExplorer. So welcome to 50 Minutes of Experience. Today I'm with Vanine Najaryan, based in Berlin. And welcome, Vanine.
Hi, thank you for inviting me over this to talk about a bit of the photography work that we do here and to talk about the creative side of why we take photos and what does it do for us.
Yeah, yeah. So as you know, I will love first to start from something easily to say, I think sometimes. And if you can introduce a bit about you, who are you, and where you come from. If you're based in Berlin, I don't know if you're German or not. And yeah, I know where you come from, but will be nice.
Okay. I'm originally Armenian. I grew up in Armenia, and I've lived, worked, and studied in 7 countries in US, in Asia, in Middle East, in Europe. So I've been traveling around all my 20s, and that was kind of a point that I wanted to experience and see as much as I can, and experience different lifestyles, see different perspectives. And for the past 3 years, I've been living in Berlin. It's my home number 7, and I really like it. So far, it's my favorite. And yeah, I like it here. And since I've been living in Berlin, I find it less and less exciting to escape. But that could also be part of the life that I'm in right now. And Berlin has a lot of diversity, and it's very interesting to explore. It's very interesting to discover different aspects and see what the city has to offer. What I do generally in life is I'm an interior designer, and I'm a self-taught photographer. Photography kind of just became a hobby when I started traveling. I've always been interested in visual arts, but photography has kind of stuck around, especially because I was mainly traveling alone, and I liked discovering the whole sense of the city. I like discovering the place and take photos, and so it was kind of my companion throughout the whole travels. And it was an interesting journey, and at one point I realized that I would like to take it to a more professional level, to a more interesting level for me.
Yeah, more deeper than yeah. So this became something to also, I think, get a balance between your main work and I mean, it's your work is based on visual in any way, and creative design. It's interior design, especially. It's I think it's nice to combine the two tools together and to express. Them in different ways. So it's like, I think in the design, interior design, it's something missed, but you can take something from photography and put in, and the same in otherwise, no?
I think it's correlating and completing each other kind of aspect, because I've noticed also that a lot of my photos are really liked by architects and interior designers themselves, probably because of some sort of training that we have, that we see things in a certain way that kind of reflects my photography work as well. And generally, of course, the color that I deal with when I'm editing or when I'm shooting or when I'm looking for a sense of place, all of that translate into an inspiration when I'm actually working as an interior designer. So it's a correlating, co-completing things, I would say. So it's a good mix and match for me.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, your eyes work in a structured way, as influenced from the design art, and but I think also in a way you are attracted from some certain chaos is in front of you. It's that you don't have usually, probably in the interior design work, that provide you some kind of shapes or forms that you are not usually getting in touch with. And it's something really clearly watching some of your footage, that for sure they respect a kind of structure in the design architecture part, but in other part they also let go away some other feeling, I think. And even this research of the blur, the movement, that's in probably something it's difficult to combine in the design and the architecture. And yeah, I'm having also to the ambulance. This, you are not the only one in Berlin to get ambulance, but I think in Berlin it's something really common to have an hospital or or someone passing with this sound. So it's okay. And what I really appreciate of your work is the way you combine some perspective. There is a series of mountain, and I think it's dune, where you combine the two side, and you are just in the middle, and you catch the vision from below, from the below part, no?
Mm-hmm.
And this something I think is not really common, because people usually watch at the shape of the mountain or the heart in general always from the front side,
Mm-hmm.
or from the upper part. But from the bottom part, it's a kind of new for me to see that, and it's nice to get
Refreshing.
yes,
Well,
yeah.
well, that's the thing. Actually, that's like we create the way we create. Any photographer, any designer, we create the way we create, and there is a certain rhythm, certain patterns of development of why you do things the way you do. Majority of it can be intent with intent. Some things not necessarily have to have intent behind them, but then it's very, very differently interpreted by other artists, and everyone finds something different in there. And sometimes I find that I have already done the detailing, so I've constructed the image in a certain geometric pattern, which I never realized I had done that until someone actually talks to me about that. It's like how you have combined these 3 points, and this looks really nice. So I think it has something to do with how they train generally in visual arts. What is the basic training? What is the art history? And all the journey we go through as artists and as designers, and that kind of shapes our perspective, our way of seeing, and that provides kind of like a base of where you could start from. But then again, when you develop your own style, when you actually work more and more into your creative sector that you have chosen as your medium, then you become more free of those preconceptions, and then it becomes easier for you to generally play the kind of like all the rules you were taught in the beginning slowly start disappearing. And even the rules that you had set up originally, like, oh, this is what I want to achieve, this is what I want to do, this, my pictures are about colors, my pictures are about shapes, my pictures are about perspective, or maybe I just want to create the sense of place, which was the original intent for me to get into photography. I really enjoyed creating this mood of the place, doesn't matter how it would come through. And then slowly you discover different tools and assets of doing it, and then at points like all the rules disappear, and then you realize that it's you have found much more interesting ways of doing and achieving things that you intentionally intended to. So that's the interesting part about like development process of how you, when you start shooting, and then what years every few, let's say, time period adds to your work.
So, but during I was talking, I was also watching your picture, and I don't know why I came up to my mind this question, and is what do you do with your bad picture?
With my bad pictures, mm, so generally I would keep them. But since now the picture sizes have gone really big, that it becomes really digitally unsensitive to start keeping all of the pictures. So I have a new policy which I've implemented recently, which is getting rid of everything I don't like.
Okay, yeah, I understand that. I mean, many times in my life,
Yeah.
to the moment that my hard disk was not working anymore and I was losing everything, and then I decided to buy some regular cloud or a server, and to in a way decide, okay, now I have to decide to which picture I have to keep and which one they have to go in the trash. And for most of the picture, I was, I also post-producted them in the past, and there was no reason to keep them. I just uploaded them on a Splash for free that people can use, can do it what else they want. I don't give a fuck. It's for me. It's in a way I think, okay, I did it these pictures, then probably it's better if
at least someone would use it, right?
yeah, and then put just in the trash. But I was asking that to myself because I'm really curious to see your bad picture. I mean, your bad picture. Probably they are so beautiful, and probably they don't respect the actual.
No, I think there is but that's the so there are two levels of achieving things for me, and that comes from my interior design work as well. And knowing how to edit and how to eliminate things is very important. Way more important for me as to adding things or adding details or adding shadows or editing to a style that is popular, or adding some blurs, or I don't know, whatever you can think of. I think choosing the right images is very important, because what you need to understand that with every picture you're trying to communicate something, and what is that main aspect you're trying to communicate, and then editing them in a way that is helping your message is way more important than, let's say, just having a mass of work, which I don't necessarily believe in, because the moment you start just producing it a quantity, there is a quality that is lost, unless you have a huge amount of team that thinks exactly like you and create exactly like you, which we don't really necessarily encounter. So I am a strong believer in terms of having publishing less but with quality, because quality is important for me, and that's what I want to say also with the work. So with the bad photos, it's not necessarily that they're bad, but they were not communicating the vision I had for them.
Yeah.
And the editing, I do actually very little editing. Until probably 3-4 years ago, I was doing absolutely no editing. And I had made a point to get the picture I want at there in time. So I had to become really technically good at understanding what would work in the natural light when I was traveling. And that has actually helped me a lot in understanding how to edit it later. And when I first decided to just try editing, I realized that wow, there's this new world that I didn't know existed, which I was restricting myself from. But then also the glamour was not what I was interested in. I was interested in actually still communicating what I want, but using editing to get to that point.
Yeah, it's sometimes important, I think, to edit the picture. I mean, in a way, just to regulate the light, contrast, the curves, the color. I mean, especially when you work in color, it's. I mean, even if you don't have, if you have Hasselblad, then yeah, it's a totally another story. I mean, you have everything is there, the setting, you doing the balance of the white is perfect. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's a camera of 60,000 euros, so then it was it's made for that. and but not everyone can have these possibilities. So then it's
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 actually, yeah, it's actually really surprising the quality and the extent of editing and the extent of like goodness the small mobile cameras can produce these days. One of my most popular pictures are actually taken on mobile phones.
yeah, me too. I took a lot of picture with mobile phone.
And you can get very decent results and printable, very decent results, high quality with a bit of understanding of how to edit it to make it technically better. And I don't necessarily believe that you need to have super pro gear to create really beautiful photography, or that shouldn't be your priority when you're taking photos, at least for me. And there's something very intuitive about having a mobile phone in your hands and taking your photos with the mobile phone, because it's less noticeable.
Yeah,
it's way more intuitive.
It's for sure. I mean, it's what I say always, even to my students, that it doesn't matter how they take a picture, they can take. I mean, if you are not working for UNICEF that has to print on the New York Center,
Yeah.
50-meter in front of a skyscraper, it's okay. You can take a picture in every way you want. But yeah, this is for sure when you spend a lot of time and to search the right equipment, you have to keep focus that if you for sure work for client that pay you 200,000 euro for one work is a things, and
yeah, of course. And then
at all, you have to just take picture of for yourself. You have just to decide if you shoot more in the morning or in the night, because if you shoot in the night, yeah, for sure the phone doesn't help you in that way. Yeah, this is probably the point, no? And years ago now I don't shoot anymore a lot of picture in the night, but years ago I was doing a project for 5 years all in the night. I came up to the point that the best solution was to buying a film roll of 3200 ISO, and was amazing because it's like you're shooting at midnight, like you're shooting in the middle day. Really, really amazing, this part. So then, yeah, it was nice to talk with you. I want to just ask you a question much more easily and personal. I think it's how work when you go just out in Berlin and you wanna just take picture around you.
So why do I go out, or is there a certain motivation?
First you do it that, and when you do it that, how that work for you? I mean, it's just a feeling and say, okay, now I have 1 hour free or 2 hour free, and just go out and see what happened in front of me, or it's like, yeah, I have this in my mind and I want to realize that.
A bit of both, because when I'm looking for specific photos, when I know I'm looking for this landmark in this nighttime, then it happens. But that would be probably 10% of the photos that I do. Majority of the time, it's like, let's take the camera, go out, have a walk, and discover. And I actually make a point of not taking out the camera until I intuitively notice something that I really like. Because if you just go out as like, I have to shoot, then it becomes a bit like forced exercise on you, and you don't necessarily notice all the frames you could have if it was just let free and let the space and the environment and the music and everything and Berlin just inspire you.
Yeah, totally. So I wait. So in the next months to let's go to shoot a bit together, and
yeah, sure.
How does it work? And thank you a lot for your time, for your talk, for your words. And if anyone want to see the work of Vanine, just link in description. And if you want to get in touch with her, with me, with the podcast, with what we said, you can send a voice message, and we will use for probably next appointment in the near future. And thank you again.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Learn more about our project at allmylinks.com/BerlinExplorer, or visit our Instagram and follow BerlinExplorer project.